Okay, so, barring bullshit with people not being able to warn about needing to leave in advance, let's get started, and probably with Jackalore. So, let's say that... Okay, let's say that you have a set amount of situations where you need to describe how you have established good relations with certain groups and a set amount of situations where you've established bad relations with certain groups. I'm thinking like something like 6 or 7 moments where you've had a chance to get in good with a random group, and like 4 where you've pissed some other group off. And these would essentially be spread over multiple clans. So you could say that you've done this kind of stuff and this kind of stuff, presenting an example for being good with the Ventru and the Bruja, for example, as stupid as that kind of set of alliances is. And you might have pissed off the La Sombra by just sending out your Gargoyle to hunt them. For example. And these would, like I discussed with Epic, like these would be what would determine like minor +1 to -1 modifiers to your relations or initial impressions with a given clan, just due to your reputation of the kind of things you've done. So let's start with this. How many do you think we should have in terms of positive and negative points as far as this goes? I'm thinking a 6 and 4 spread is reasonable-ish, given that the 4 will generally include non-Camarilla entities as well. So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so you're not gonna be able to have like a... You're not going to be able to be equally liked by every single faction in Camarilla at that point, but... How about we start with 6 and we can up it to 7 if that feels more right?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm just gonna see how this goes. That's all.
Okay, so... Yes?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, should we write this down somewhere in our notes, or...
We are
backstory,
gonna... You're gonna write this down in your notes, but you're also gonna explain it, because I want an actual roleplay example of... Like a specific example that sort of illustrates your overall attitude and way of doing things, right? For example, you, Demi, whenever you go to a new city, you might visit Elysium and tell some stories to the local Toreador that might make you more liked among them. And you could describe a specific event of when you would have done that. Right?
Right.
That kind of thing. With us, once again, commenting and criticizing like assholes.
Yep.
So, Jackalore, pick one clan for a start that you would like to have slightly good impressions with.
Ventru.
Okay, Ventru. So, what do you want to start with? The specifics of a single event or your overall interactions with the clan? And then go to specifics. Like, what is it that makes you liked by them? What is it that you do that puts you on good terms with them? I mean, it can be anything from helping them in certain ways to, I don't know, just being pleasant company or agreeing with their opinions. This is a very slight modifier to this.
I mean, it probably would be that I support Ventru princess over other princess. if I had when I been the
You're cutting in
You
and
on your
out.
phone?
fuck.
Can you, just repeat that?
Fucking hell. Am I still cutting in? I'm not. Fucking hell! I lost connection to the server.
It's
Just,
not particularly anymore.
just speak.
I generally have throughout, when I was an independent agent of the Tremere, I've been, supporting and helping Ventru Princess more than, other princess.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I agree more with Ventru's style of ruling.
Okay. So, yeah, that would probably be an opinion that is known about you. So, can you give us a more specific example as to how that would have come to the fore?
Like speaking out in Elysium in defense of Prince of Ventru Princess that were being someone told me a vicious rumor or something. It was like, oh my god, that is no way possible because they wouldn't do that due to being Ventru.
So essentially just defending their good name more so than just saying that they're the best, necessarily the strong hand that is needed, and more that they can do no wrong kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, good, you're a lying asshole of an elder. Love to see those stereotypes. Okay, then you can note in your backstory that you have one positive tick with the Ventru and the specific, primarily cropping up in the, yay, independent era of your thing. As far as what Demi asked, yes, this can most certainly be with your own clan, and this would be a separate thing from clan status. Clan
And yes, my ride
status.
arrived, so I'll be fucking off, guys.
When will you be back?
Who fucking knows at this point? Probably an hour or 40 minutes.
Okay, go then. Go.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so, for simplicity's sake, clan status is your outright recognition and current opinion of you. This is more to deal with how you do things that might be pleasing or displeasing to certain clans. So, for example, if you suck up to Ventru the way Jackalor does, there's a very good chance that a opposite point of being disliked by the Bruja for the very same reason fits in there.
Yeah, because the way he, definitely the way he described that personal part, I can't imagine the Bruja being happy with that at all.
Yeah, this is essentially your reputation on the street in a way, Except it's more amongst the elders. This is how they judge what they can expect from you. At least, starting out.
This
So-
is basically someone's, just their general impression of you. What they might know about you, things like that.
Or what they might dig up if they dig into your history.
That too.
So I think we can go here in alternating steps. So one of you can write down while the other goes on to their next point. Make sure it's properly recorded, along with a general time frame. So, Demi.
I guess I should start from my own clan because I want to, of course, be best with my own clan. So yeah, if I had to take examples, just my overall life, what I've done. I've been consistently going, meeting a lot of Gangrel, being with them, spreading stories, telling them lore, probably getting asked a bit about things. Just basically, I've been in contact with a lot of Gangrel, and have just basically fit in.
Okay. So, kind of, okay, describe to me a specific instance to make it clear exactly how that manifests.
I guess I'll just use some kind of random thing, like me being still in Scandinavia. First time attempting to, hold an actual lore of the, all thing. Actually, to be one of the lore masters, they're like trying to actually spread the lores. Just being there, surrounded by my other gangrel peeps, just having them look at me with awe, and even some, like.
Yeah, back in Scandinavia, when you were barely 100 years old, you got to speak for like 20 minutes towards the dawn when an elder who had smacked you down 3 times before went like, ah, okay. Because the way the clan book describes it, they smack down the ones low on the totem pole, and Scandinavia is like the gangrel homeland. You wouldn't have been that high on the totem pole there. Not with as young as you were.
Then how about I just basically do a sort of similar thing, but this time in America?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That actually makes more sense because I'd be older at that point, much more experienced, know a lot more as well. And basically I'd kind of just say, just have people, I'd be talking, telling, people would look at me, ask even questions like if they didn't understand a part, or they needed some, like, did it actually happen or whatnot. And of course, after all it happened, probably just hang down and more, get more private with other gangrels and whatnot,
Mm-hmm. Okay. As a counterpoint to this, consider the fact that a lot of elders don't want the actual truth of mystical crap being spread to the younger people, because that excites them to form all kinds of bullshit Gehenna cults and etc. But yeah, just that's
I actually
fine.
think that was, I think I remember in the book that was actually stated that the Cameral actually tried to sort of step down on these all things, trying to make them not happen, because they actually did try and rouse up, the neonates, and the neonates started doing some wacky shit.
Yeah,
That's
that would.
recent, though. That's not something that, for a long time, they were trying to step on that pretty hard.
Essentially consider it as there are people who dislike you because of this. Probably in the high society, generally speaking.
Yeah, I was gonna go, when we actually get to the bad relations, I was
Yeah.
actually gonna go with True as one of those. So yeah, so far good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Epic.
Just a
I know
question:
the
how many
particular
points?
clan that I would really like to have good relations with, and that would really be the Nosferatu.
We're gonna have we're gonna start with a total of 6 positive and 4 negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be somebody which-
Uh,
I was just wondering why you were repeating that.
no. Demi asked.
Yeah, since that's why I'm asking. Like, should I already put like how many points in relations with Gangrel or have, or should we wait until the end?
Like each of these events and each of these behaviors is 1 point. You can just have multiple things that you do that a single clan in particular likes. So you could have, have 2 things or even 3 things that Gangrel in particular like.
Particularly, I was just going to go with my character. Generally, just doesn't treat the Nosferatu like, trash or anything. She's more than willing to go and talk to them, the younger and the elder members, see if they need some help. So she's willing to, help them out. But she probably has a couple of times also somewhat stepped beyond what she really needed. Generally, if, in the real terms of probably somebody went missing and she might have, given that location over somebody going to the Nosferatu. That makes some sense.
In general
But aside
terms,
from that,
yes.
She's generally been treating them very well for a vampire.
Okay, so describe a specific situation to me.
I actually have an idea. During a point where basically a lot of Toreador ended up being the only people in the city with any real power, none of them was willing to give any kind of information or messages to the Nosferatu. And they actually really needed this to happen because they were being probably attacked by the Sabbat or something similar. My character went ahead and put herself forth as being willing to go down to, the Nosferatu's warrens and deliver the message that was needed.
Yeah, I would say that was one of the days when you had to, do some self-defense against a couple of Toreador ghouls with Auspex too. But,
Interesting. But hey.
because that sounds like a situation where there was a plot to just hang the Nosferatu out to dry. And, well, they wouldn't have been able to directly...
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That would totally have been a case. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, that certainly works. Okay. Just make sure you make decent notes of this so I can later reference it. As many details as you can manage when you write these down. But, hopefully we should be able to remember since we're working these out collectively. Okay, Demi.
Next clan that I'd like would just probably be Bruja. For the simple sake of they fit my sort of lifestyle and how I work. Like, I'm charismatic, but I have no etiquette. So I'm not trying to be a posh person. I'm trying to be just sort of a relaxed person who likes to socialize. Bruja kind of go into that. And another point being that, and a lot of stories that I read and whatnot, heroes are always like determined, passionate, and whatnot. And Bruja still fit that story. And I probably would have, when socializing with Bruja in like bars or Elysium, whatever they have, go maybe even rouse them up a little bit or inspire them with my own stories.
Demi, how would your character feel about just how violent and inhuman Bruja can easily become? Because a lot of them sell crack to kids.
That is... here's how I think. While a lot of Bruja do wrong, I sort of, in myself, believe that they can do good. Like, deep inside them, they can actually, do good instead of bad. It's just, can they actually, achieve it by themselves?
Okay, so describe a specific situation of how you would have been chilling with your Bruja, supposedly bros.
Here's a question now. Side question. Like, I know Jacklord did this in, his campaign with the Elysium being a bar. Do a lot of Bruja actually make bars like their Elysium and whatnot?
Not necessarily, but some probably do. It really depends on the individual city and the individual members of the clan, etc., etc.
Right. Well, I'm just gonna go with
things like that.
I'm just gonna then take us like a story like where I was like in sort of in a Bruja Elysium, right? Everybody's chill. Let's say it's gonna be a bar, and since for my mortal life where I was also going from tavern to tavern, it just felt like a sort of natural environment. Like, go in, you already kind of know who's what, and just you can easily just sort of meet people like that. And I probably would have met some fellow Brujas that were like open to discussion. Were happy at that moment, started talking a little bit, having a lot of fun. Maybe some other Bruja might have joined us in into the fun or whatnot from hearing us and whatnot. Just going like that, really like chill, having fun as much as you can.
The Bruja all laughing about how the Princess Child's reputation has just been ruined.
I might have saying that in one of the bars.
You know, it's not the fact that you did it, it's that you went around neighboring cities singing about it. But okay. Okay, so that's a positive point with Bruja. Okay. Fair enough. Epic.
I was trying to think of who else I'd really like to have positive relations with. I'll just go with some that sounds right. Positive relations with the Toreador.
Okay. How would that come about?
This one would come about simply because of how well my character is able to integrate with, humans and mortals, and seems to honestly just seem to care about them in general. That's just left a pretty good impression to the Toreador that I've heard about her most of the time. The fact that she also seems to not mind the Nosferatu might be a bit of a... But, she does seem to genuinely enjoy being with mortals and stuff without a problem.
Okay. And a specific instance of this?
She actually saved a couple of ghouls that Toreador had once. They just ended up having some issues on the road or something like that. And she brought them along to the nearest hospital, performing what care she could for them.
Mm-hmm. And how sane were they after that care?
Pretty sane. She didn't do any hitting or give them blood. He has medicine.
Okay. I'm not sure that falls under specifically caring about mortals the way you described it, because the way you described it, it sounded more along the just normies that are completely uninvolved, rather than
yes,
helping
but the problem is that doesn't generally gain attention. That part gained attention after she saved the ghouls.
Oh, it could easily have been someone a Toreador was, valuing as a potential artist or something. Doesn't have to be a ghoul for them to be within the sphere of attention.
That is true. I was just going with ghoul because that would gain their immediate attention, and then the other bit would...
I mean, you have hundreds of years of history. This can be a weird example of an overall behavior. It doesn't have to be quite that likely, as long as it reasonably could have happened.
Okay, then yeah, just help somebody that was a mortal that was important to at least one Toreador, maybe a couple people.
Hmm.
Just tend to do this, so.
Okay, I think we are at 2 each right now, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so Demi, why don't we do a negative one next?
Okay, for the negative, I would say the first one I do is Ventru.
Okay. Why?
You fucking laugh like that in the background. Well, for the first fact, it's basically going the opposite of Bruja, right? A lot of the, Ventru are kind of stuck up. It's really hard to, properly communicate and have fun with them. You always have to be sort of like an elegant manner of representing them, and I am not the main man of elegance. And another thing is, even if they do try to laugh, a lot of them try and do a sort of fake laugh in the sense of they're always still scheming something, in their back of the head. They're laughing with you, but in the next moment it's not happening.
And how would that translate into you pissing them off?
I probably would have at once actually gotten into an argument with a Ventru, probably multiple times actually. Also, since due to my sort of nomadic nature, a lot of them might have gotten into argument of me not actually for example in Princes or something, when I was staying in cities, I might not have followed answers or something and maybe just left the city, which just left a bad taste in their mouth. Just basically not really giving too many fucks for the Ventru, and in return, they just kind of didn't like that, if that makes sense.
Okay, so that sounds like two different things. One being you being vocal about their high stuck-up manners, and another with just, on occasion, just walking out and ignoring their authority.
Kinda, yeah.
So you can pick one of those, or you can go with both and just have two ticks with Ventru in general disliking your ways.
Tough choice now.
I mean, someone's gonna dislike you.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep those points later for actual Sabat, since we talked about a lot of Sabat not liking me. But that's what I'm saying. If
I
want to or not.
mean, that this has to do with a special dislike for something you do outside the norm. If you just fight Sabat when you run into them, a lot of the more fighterish clans in particular would do that, so that would fall under normal stuff. They already hate you because you're a Cam Elder.
I'm just gonna go for the both of them. 2 points.
Okay, then I'm gonna need a specific situation for one right now, and you can reiterate the other on the next negative.
I'm trying to think of one. Potentially, I'm gonna say this was while I was still in Europe. Staying over, whatnot, just being there. Since I did kind of go into some court life, I did meet some Ventru. Never really sort of hanged out with them. Whenever I sort of went to the Elysium, I would have more gone towards the Toreador side, but just ignoring the Ventru in general, and probably Gangrel and like actual proper Elysium and whatnot might have actually had some rumors spread about me, which I might have actually directly confronted some of the Ventru of actually doing that, probably throwing out some mean words, and then just dissing out of the city. 0 fucks given.
Okay. Yeah, then we're gonna essentially treat the leaving cities whenever you have had enough bullshit as a separate thing, but yeah, that works.
Sweet.
That certainly works. Like, refusing to play politics and just confronting them about it would definitely piss them off.
And that is how my character works, because I have nothing in politics or etiquette. If you have something to say to me, say it to my face, motherfucker.
3 Bruja pull out magic knives. The Tremere send their regards.
I thought we were cool, man.
He showed us how to hide the signs of diablerie. There can be only one.
That was Volt.
Fire damage, which the Burning Blade would be, by the way, Demi, bypasses the Flesh of Marble.
Oh no. That sounds bad.
It is bad. It's
The
real
werewolves have
bad.
an equivalent gift, don't they? Maybe not a gift. I thought I remember seeing something about them being able to make flames appear on their blades and start dealing activated damage to everything.
That's... No one can keep track of all their gifts so quickly. There's a lot, and it doesn't matter. So, okay, so you dislike and are disliked by the Ventru so far. Epic, why don't you give us a negative one?
I'm not sure how big this is gonna be. My character has totally helped the Tremere experiments that managed to leave them to try and escape them.
You know, if you go out of your way to... Well, I'm essentially treating the Montmar Pact, or however it's pronounced, a little more leniently for the Tremere. So if the Gorgos they were allowed to keep, if you go out of your way to help them, that would definitely piss them off.
Yeah. She's been helping them ever since she discovered more or less how they actually are made and such, as well as any others that have apparently been under the Tremere's experimentations.
Mm-hmm. So give us, say, a specific example.
Well, eventually she found a gargoyle that was left for dead, who then explained that he and what he counts as brothers were being kept in the chantry. She then went designed a plan to get all of the gargoyles sent away from them, and then just ended up kind of staking them and leaving them for just a little while so that the Tremere couldn't find them. But then came back about a year later and unstaked them and proclaimed them free.
Mm-hmm. A gargoyle left out for dead, how would that manifest? Like on a rooftop with a stake or something?
Possibly.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. That works. You just... Yeah, you could have just essentially dominated them and staked them and just left them to sit there until the blood bonds broke or something.
Yep, that was the plan. Which generally takes about a year or so for most things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for vampires, it technically doesn't decay unless you fight it. I think. Not if it's complete.
Yeah. I mean, in theory it can still, but if you do fight it, it definitely decays.
So, Demi, why don't you give us another positive one?
Since I just talked about the Ventru and how I probably would have gone with more Toreador, I'm gonna go with next clan Toreador.
Okay, so far you have Gangrel and Bruja for positive.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So, as I said, the Toreador, like, even though I said, like, the Ventru are too elegant and whatnot for my taste, and even though a lot of Toreador are, I guess it's simply due to their nature that sort of resembles with me, that they're much more easier to talk to, much more easier to communicate with, and seeing as I am, sort of a musician as well, a composer, sing songs and whatnot, we sort of found a middle ground and things that we can both enjoy, you know, and we could talk about that and sort of give sort of my input on throughout the years, like what changed, how do you actually play it, and maybe the Toreador sort of giving me as well some kind of tips and whatnot. It's sort of a mutual like sort of relation that in the end was kind of positive.
Well, keep in mind you do travel a lot, so it wouldn't be the same Toreador. You would just be known as being friendly to their clan and...
Well, yeah.
Oh, but yeah, okay, give me a specific on that.
I'm not sure. Well, actually, let's go to the sort of homeland, I guess, of the Toreadors. I'm gonna say, let's say that this was in France, when I was sort of enjoying sort of a much more gorgeous life, going, meeting some actual high rankings. Since I avoided the Venture, I would have, found a nice little group of Toreadors, probably youngish Toreadors, which would actually, talk to me and whatnot. And I would have just probably, started talking, about where I've been and where I've explored and whatnot, single things. And, actually, just probably one of them asked them, so, like, since I carry a lute around, do you know how to play a lute? So I'm like, yeah, I do. And I, just started, like, doing a lute, maybe a nice little song with my merit enchanting voice as well, helping. Might have even attracted some of the older bit of Toreadors and made a nice little performance there. And, just everybody was, I guess, impressed by me, if I want to say that. Yeah, I maybe got some tips from them, appreciated the help also, and just kind of did that, I guess.
Okay. Alrighty then. So, Epic.
At this point, I'm kind of just randomly deciding, because I've covered the people that I felt were able to think about pretty simply.
You can put a second thing into those as well if you want. To essentially have extra good relations with those two clans and just be more standoffish with the rest. If you want.
I don't particularly feel like focused that much. He's very much just been wandering around and helping people in general. So I think it would make more sense for her to have a bit of just a light touch on whenever you got all of these.
Well, keep in mind that something like the independent clans might also be a thing in theory. Like, I strongly suggest that most, if not all, these do go to Camarilla clans, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case given that you're old and you're both. You know, not hardcore Camarilla.
Yeah, my character's definitely not hardcore Camarilla. More of something that's kind of happened.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, I'd rather not just say Assamites right now. I'd rather go for something else, at least. I'll say that she's actually gotten pretty well with... jeez.
Right, who did you have pissed off? To Tremere,
The
right?
Tremere.
Yeah, okay.
I have the Tremere pissed off right now. Gosh darn it. Demi,
Yeah.
tell me a clan.
Fuck. Which clans did you already pick for positive?
Toreador, Nosferatu.
Well, keep in mind that the Malkavians do have a situation where on occasion their derangements shift and they go extra crazy for a couple of weeks as per the lore of clans, and you could just show up in the right spot to help a clanmate who doesn't have anyone else to help them out, kind of thing.
Totally.
What about your own clan epic?
That's what we're doing. Malkavian. Not too much to say in a way, just that she's like, you know, again, treats them generally pretty well, and then we'll go to the specific situation for the...
Oh no, this treats them generally well is not an example of a specific behavioral pattern. I'm gonna need a bit more detail than that.
That's what I was saying. This is the general part, just treats them well, which is sometimes rare even in the Malkavian clan. And again, Malkavians are just everywhere, so...
They try to keep each other alive and enlightened, but that isn't always nice. Those are two different things.
Yeah. That's what I meant. They're very, they're all over the place. They tend to be that way. I'm actually, if it's alright, can I say, whenever she has found a neonate or even possibly an elder that's been going through, one of those drastic changes, has tried to help them out as best she could.
Mm-hmm. And you have, like, 7 dots of perception awareness, right?
I actually was considering upping awareness one more point, but ended up just...
Yeah, I would say that this is something that you wouldn't necessarily pick up rumors of, because that wouldn't get spread. You would just, get a message through the network and just be drawn to a specific place and find someone just peeking out of a sewer with crazy in the eyes. But yeah, that could definitely be a thing. Hello?
I'm here. I'm typing it down.
No. You explain and then you write it down when Demi's talking.
I thought we already explained it.
Well, you need to still give me a specific situation.
Oh, a really specific one. Okay.
Yes, like, you describe the general pattern, and then you describe the specific, like, a specific event in a series of events, or give us an idea as to how it could have happened, so we know how it manifests in specific cases.
Ah, okay. One time when she was going through town, she had gotten the feeling that something was off. She then, some pointed her in the direction of the church, you know, or rather maybe just popped in her head, the church, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
She went over there and found that somebody had started the thing on fire, of all things, and was laughing maniacally back there. She ended up spending like 4 willpower points to go in there, dominate them into just staying away from their haven for a little while, and just help them get through it like the rest of the week.
Yeah, they kept I would say they probably kept trying to get away from you and telling you about the beauty of the flames. Luckily,
Yeah,
the rage
yeah.
stabilized to something else later on, probably, because the blood isn't that suicidally stupid, but usually. But
Yep.
that was a fun moment. Sure. We'll go with that. So, Demi, why don't you give us that second negative point?
I think, as we did actually talk about this last time, probably Tremere.
Okay.
So since we talked, like before, like the Tremere started off doing monstrous things, turning, fellow Gangrel into gargoyles and whatnot, I would probably have totally been, fucking disgusted by this. I would have wrote fucking songs, ballads, or whatever that's just depicting the Tremere, their sort of also hitting them hard, in the fucking sort of usurper thing, taking over to eating people, and just just displaying their monstrosity to that and bad mouthing them.
Okay, writing down. The local gangrel have a feud with the Tremere.
That was before, of course. We did state that if the Tremere sort of normalized as time went on, I would have been better, but bad blood still stays,
Uh-huh. No, these are things that are still, to some extent, around. So, give us a time frame as... Well, no, this would still be something that is, to some extent, seen as continuing. But...
well, it would have started in Europe, definitely, and then continued into the fucking world, so... I guess it would still continue, yeah.
I mean, the problem you have here is you have 3 clan status, and your clan really likes you, so they're like, I wonder, those fucking wards. Demi, I'm gonna tell you something amazing. One of the gangrel has Thaumaturgy 3.
Okay, so yeah, I have to go with this relation now. We could do something like the Tremere now want this gangrel dead or something, like, you fucking
No,
want me.
he's a legit thaumaturge.
Ah, okay.
He's registered. He has a ring in his ear.
I definitely would have fucking fought a Tremere if he just came like, hey, I need that gangrel dead. You fucking what, mate? 1v1 me. So yeah, I'm just gonna put that Tremere.
Yeah,
guess
give
we have
us
to go-
a specific situation as to how that would have cropped up.
I have to now find a situation where Tremere leave their house.
I mean, doesn't have to be in this city.
I know. I'm just kidding in general, as Tremere fucking hold them up so in their chantry. But
You leave sometimes, but generally requires a situation of some kind.
Depends on the Tremere. They can certainly be social animals that they can embrace whoever the clan needs.
What about this? When since Tremere are kind of more heavily in Europe, sort of one time when I was, I guess in Germany or something, since it's closest to Sabbat, when we were sort of like trying to fight off some Sabbat
I
or
mean,
something.
Demi, it doesn't have to be. The Tremere are plenty in the New World as well.
Fair. I just want to go with the situation of when we were sort of fighting off, some Sabat or whatnot. I would have seen, some Tremere and his gargoyles, and then get fucking reminded of what all happened. Then, ask them, are you guys still making these fucking monsters? These abominations that you guys are making, and just, probably go into a feud over that. Sort of
Yeah,
also help.
headcanon. In-game time, that was last Tuesday.
Okay then.
I mean, it
Wait,
doesn't
what
have
was
to
last
be.
Tuesday?
I mean, Jackalor has a gargoyle and you just fought the Sabat. I think the writing is pretty much clear here.
Yeah, so it's pretty recent. Okay then, good. Windows werewolves come. Hey, do you know where a Power of Note is? Oh, just go down that street, then take a left, and you'll find like a nice little building there. Just be careful. It's kind of surrounded by some weird shit, man.
They're like, thanks, fam. Die, worm,
No problem.
die, worm monster. Okay, why don't you give us a second negative point, Epic?
Actually, could I do something similar for the Samisi?
Similar to what Demi said?
No! Similar to my earlier point with the Tremere.
Reiterate for me.
Saving their experiments whenever possible.
Aww.
Yeah, I think that would usually result in the prince hunting down and putting those experiments down. A lot of them would be too far gone.
If you want, she'll be trying to help them, unless they really truly are too far gone. She's going to be trying to save them.
I want to point this out. The Mitzi are an Auspex clan and you have all of Obfuscate too. I'm not sure you would consider this a viable option in most cases unless it was a really young and weak Zemitzi.
I'm not attacking the Zamisi or anything like that.
Yes, but even so, one fuck up and you're a chair. I just want to point out that this is risky behavior.
I didn't say she's not going to take any risks.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, describe a specific situation.
So, while she was somewhere in, like, probably South America, she did her usual thing, hanging out around mortals most of the time. Discovered that apparently people have been going missing quite a bit. Zamisi eventually talking to her about, hey, yeah, that's probably me. I've been doing some interesting stuff over at my haven. If you ever want to check it out. So she used her clairvoyance to check it out. And that's when she decided that she would keep an eye on him and see if he would ever leave again. And when he did, start trying to see what was going on in their minds and stuff.
Actually, I have a really good idea of how this could be really awesome and really simple.
Sure.
It could easily be a Elder Zemitzi, and if he invited you to chat with him, and you waited when he was gone out, you could have just been there under guest right and stolen his experiments. And that would more than justify that news spreading, even from a single event about how you're untrustworthy.
Well, untrustworthy to a degree.
I mean, they take
I
guest
totally
right
accept it.
seriously, so yes.
Yep. Yes. That is perfect.
Okay. Fucking Malks. Never guest right a Malk. Always kill. Okay, Demi, why don't you give us another positive event?
Okay, so we get Toreador. That's 3.
This would be the fourth
Um,
one.
Yeah. Let me just finish all the relations I want with clans individually, and then I'll fucking focus more heavily on more clans. So, Personally, I want to say that another clan that I would have interacted with and sort of get some relation with are actually the Malkavians themselves.
Okay.
Simply due to, as I stated before, when I was doing my lore, you know, a lot of like the lores and whatnot piqued my interest, and I know that Malkavians have a lot of answers to a lot of things, basically. And due to my own nature, you can never really get bored around a Malkavian. So I would have probably just enjoyed the shenanigans that one can do with the Malkavians, you know?
Uh-huh. Demi, do
so
you
I-
want a derangement and the ability to take dementation whenever you choose?
No, I don't.
Because you're sticking your hand in the fire here.
I don't. I don't
Fine.
want to get in there. I want to be nice with the Malkavians, but at the same time, I don't want to drain me. Come on.
Okay, specifically, how would you have made nice with them without having them prank the fuck out of you, just to teach you?
Ooh.
Because you literally went, it's never boring around a Malkavian.
Yeah. So without them pranking the shit out of me, you know, I actually was gonna go with the pranks, but I always sort of enjoyed the pranks, but you know, but now
Trust
going
me,
without
you do not always enjoy Malkavian pranks.
You know, one of them would have made a point of adjusting the curtain so a single sunbeam would fall on your face, just so you know that not all pranks are enjoyable. At some point, one of them would have done this.
Yep.
Fair. Not sure exactly. Maybe I shouldn't then go with Malkavians.
Literally wake up with your eyes burned out, go like, ah! I was blind, but now I see Malks are assholes! Well, we've
I mean,
done
don't get me
a...
wrong, I love the Malkavians, I truly do. But that does not mean they are necessarily nice.
Yeah,
I know.
well, the timer beeped, we can take a break and just, then you can take a few more minutes to think and, you know, take a quick pause.
Yep.